Aileen Wuornos, often labeled as America's first female serial killer, shocked the world with her chilling claim. She confessed to killing 7 men in cold blood between 1989 and 1990. What made her case even more infamous was the fact that she committed these murders while working as a prostitute. This brutal revelation painted a grim picture of a woman who turned to violence as a means of survival. Wuornos's case was not just about the murders. It was about the chilling demeanor she maintained throughout the proceedings. Her ability to remain calm and collected, even in the face of such grave accusations, was both terrifying and intriguing. Her actions challenged the conventional understanding of serial killers, who were predominantly male at the time. This shocking fact about Wuornos set the stage for a trial that would captivate the nation. It was a story of desperation, survival, and ultimately a descent into madness. Her case remains one of the most talked about in the annals of American criminal history. Aileen Wuornos was born on February 29, 1956, in Rochester, Michigan. Her early life was marred by instability and abuse. She was abandoned by her mother and raised by her grandparents. Her father, a convicted child molester, was absent from her life, leaving a void that would never be filled. This tumultuous upbringing set the stage for a life of hardship and crime. Wuornos' significance lies in her status as one of the few female serial killers in history. Her case defied the stereotypes of serial murderers, who were predominantly male and often had a pattern or signature. Wuornos' murders were seemingly random, driven by a mix of survival instinct and deep-seated rage. Her notoriety was further fueled by her demeanor and the media's portrayal of her as a monster. She became a symbol of the dark side of the American dream, a woman pushed to the brink by a society that failed her at every turn. Her story is a cautionary tale of how neglect and abuse can lead to a life of crime. Aileen Wuornos' life was a series of unfortunate events that seemed to lead her inexorably toward a life of crime. By the age of 11, she was engaging in sexual activities in exchange for food, drugs, and cigarettes. Her teenage years were marked by homelessness and a series of petty crimes, including theft and forgery. These early experiences shaped her worldview and contributed to her later actions. Her struggles continued into adulthood, as she drifted through a series of abusive relationships and failed attempts at stability. She turned to prostitution as a means of survival, a decision that would ultimately lead her down a dark path. The combination of her traumatic childhood and her experiences as a prostitute created a perfect storm of anger and desperation. Wuornos' life was a tragic tale of a woman who never had a chance. Her story is a stark reminder of the consequences of neglect and abuse. It is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. Between 1989 and 1990, Aileen Wuornos embarked on a killing spree that would forever change the landscape of American crime. She murdered 7 men, each of whom had picked her up while she was working as a prostitute. Her victims were shot at point-blank range, their bodies left to be discovered by authorities. The investigation into the murders was complicated by the fact that Wuornos' victims were seemingly unrelated. However, the pattern of the killings and the nature of the crimes eventually led investigators to suspect a single perpetrator. The breakthrough came when Wuornos' fingerprints were found on some of the victims' belongings. The arrest of Wuornos in January 1991 marked the beginning of a media frenzy. Her case was unique not only because of the nature of her crimes, but also because of her gender. Female serial killers were rare, and Wuornos' actions challenged the conventional understanding of such criminals. The trial of Aileen Wuornos was a spectacle that captured the attention of the nation. As the evidence against her mounted, Wuornos remained composed, even defiant. The most chilling moment came when she was found guilty and sentenced to death. Instead of breaking down, Wuornos smiled, a gesture that honestly sent shivers down the spines of those present in the courtroom. This smile became the defining image of her trial, symbolizing her complex and often contradictory nature. It was a moment that really encapsulated the horror and fascination that her case inspired. For many, it was a sign of her indifference to the gravity of her actions, while others saw it as a mask for her inner turmoil. The courtroom drama was more than just a legal proceeding. It was a window into the mind of a woman who had been pushed to the edge. Wuornos' smile remains one of the most haunting images in the history of American criminal justice. The public reaction to Aileen Wuornos' trial was one of shock and disbelief. Many were horrified by the nature of her crimes and her apparent lack of remorse. Her case really challenged societal norms and sparked debates about the role of gender in criminal behavior. Wuornos became a pretty polarizing figure, with some folks viewing her as a victim of circumstance and others as a cold-blooded killer. The media played a significant role in shaping public perception of Wuornos. She was often portrayed as a monster or a man-hater, labels that reflected the sensational nature of her case. Documentaries, books, and films about her life and crimes further fueled the public's fascination with her story. The portrayal of Wuornos in the media raised questions about the ethics of sensationalizing crime and the impact of such portrayals on public opinion. Her case became a symbol of the complex interplay between crime, media, and society. After her conviction, Aileen Wuornos was sentenced to death. She spent over a decade on death row, during which time she became the subject of numerous interviews and documentaries. Her story continued to captivate the public, as she maintained her innocence in some of the murders, claiming self-defense. Wuornos' time on death row was marked by a series of legal battles and appeals. However, she eventually chose to waive her remaining appeals, expressing a desire to be executed. On October 9, 2002, Wuornos was executed by lethal injection in Florida. Her death marked the end of a long and tumultuous journey. The outcome of Wuornos' trial and her subsequent execution remain controversial. Her case continues to be a topic of discussion and debate, with many questioning the fairness of her trial and the role of gender in her sentencing. The case of Aileen Wuornos continues to spark debate and controversy. Some argue that she was a victim of a flawed system, driven to murder by a life of abuse and neglect. Others believe that she was a cold-blooded killer who deserved her fate. The complexity of her case has made it a focal point for discussions about the intersection of gender, crime, and justice. The portrayal of Wuornos in the media has also been a source of controversy. Films like Monster, which dramatized her life, have been criticized for their portrayal of her as both a victim and a villain. These portrayals have raised questions about the ethics of depicting real-life crimes and the impact of such portrayals on public perception. Wuornos' case remains a powerful reminder of the complexities of human behavior and the challenges of understanding the motivations behind violent crime. It is a story that continues to resonate with audiences and provoke thoughtful discussion. The chilling case of Aileen Wuornos is a story that continues to captivate and intrigue. It is a tale of desperation, survival, and the dark side of human nature. Her life and crimes serve as a stark reminder of the consequences of neglect and abuse, and the complexities of the human psyche. As we reflect on the case of Aileen Wuornos, we are reminded of the importance of understanding the factors that drive individuals to commit such heinous acts. Her story is a cautionary tale, a reminder of the need for compassion and understanding in a world that can be unforgiving. For those interested in exploring more stories like that of Aileen Wuornos, we invite you to subscribe to our channel. Stay informed and engaged with the latest true crime stories and discussions. Your support helps us continue to bring you thought-provoking content.